This is question 4, Unit 1 Foundation from June 2011. We have a pie chart showing Year 10 and how they got to school. Part A says, a student from Year 10 is chosen at random. Mark with a letter the probabilities of each of the following on this scale down here. The first one has been done for you. A student walks to school. Walking is here, it's a quarter of the circle. Now if we look down on our scale down here, they split this into 1, 2, 3, 4 bits. And walking was 1 out of 4. That's what a quarter is, 1 out of 4. So that's why that arrow is there. Part B, the student does not walk to school. Well, that's everything else. If 1/4 does walk to school, the rest of them don't walk to school. And the rest of them is all the way around here, which is 3/4. So 3/4 is 3 out of 4. So we don't want 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4. We want to come across to 3 out of 4, which is this marker here, the third marker along. So that will be where B is. C, the student travels to school by train. Train isn't on here at all. There is no train. Nobody comes to school by train. So if nobody comes, if it's impossible, that is 0 down here. So we need our C pointing at 0. In part B of the question, we're told 40 students travel to school by car. How many Year 10 students are there? And that means all together. But we're told 40 travel by car. So up here, we know this car is 40 students. And we've got to work out how many people there are in the whole circle. Now we need to know the angle here, the size of this angle. So you need to get your angle measurer. You need to make sure this little cross bit here is over the middle. And I need to make sure that this naught here on the edge is lined up along this line. So I'm lining up my middle bit, and I'm lining up that naught level with here. Now that line I need to go around to is this line here, that line there. So I'm going to put it on here again. And if I go round, I'm using these outside numbers, so 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. The line I'm interested in is here, so there, and that's level with 60. So there are 60 degrees in there. So I know that 60 degrees stands for 40 people. So I'm going to write that down here. I know that 60 degrees stands for 40 people. Now the full pie chart, a complete pie chart, a complete circle, is 360 degrees. So what I'm going to do is keep doubling up or adding on my 60 degrees. So if I do 2 lots of 60 degrees, which is 120 degrees, I've just doubled that number, I will double the number of people. So in other words, 120 degrees would stand for 80 people. Now, if I double that one, double 120, I'll get to 240. And if I double this one, that will take me to 160 people. Now if I double this one, I'll get 480. Well, that's too many. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add on another 60. 240 add 60 is 300 degrees. And if I've added those two together to get my degrees number, I can add these two together to get my people number. 40 and 160 is 200 people. So I now know that 300 degrees is 300 degrees is 200 people. I want to get 360. So if I add another 60 degrees onto this one, I will get 360 degrees. So what I've done now is I have added those two together. So I can do the same with my bottom numbers. Add these two together, 40 and 200, make 240. So I've worked my way up from knowing that 60 degrees was 40 people, doubling it again, then adding on another 60, adding on another 60. I've ended up with the all-important 360 degrees, and I've worked out that that was 240 people. And that is the answer to that question. This question continues with part C. There are 252 students in Year 11. Now, so far we've just been looking at Year 10. The same proportion of students walk to school as in Year 10. So let's look up here. Walking was a quarter. A quarter of the people walked. So we've got to work out how many are in Year 11 altogether. Sorry, We haven't. We've got to work out how many of year 11 walk to school. We've said it's a quarter of the year group. So it's a quarter of the 252 people in the year. And if you've got to find a quarter of something, finding a quarter of something is the same as dividing by 4. So if you do the sum 252 divided by 4, you'll get your answer. You can do it on a calculator if you want to. You're allowed a calculator on this paper. And the answer is 63. So 63 of the year 11 students walk to school.